So, next we're going to work with subtraction. Addition and subtraction of negative numbers. So, a negative number, when we're working with these things, my black marker fell down here. So, when we are adding a positive number, all we're doing, taking a number, we're hopping in the positive direction so many steps, right? So, then we take to 2, to 3, to 4, to 5, okay? So that's adding positives. Now, we could say that's 2 plus 3 equals 5. And that's a clear idea. And when we add negatives, adding negatives, what we're doing is we're adding a number that does the opposite of the other one. So, 1, 2, 3. Takes me to 1 to 0 to negative 1. Now 2 plus negative 3 equals negative 1. Okay? That's a clear enough idea. So we know that when we do an operation, our additive operations, addition and subtraction, that's just anytime you do an operation with a negative, it's just the reverse direction from a positive. Okay? So if we do subtraction, and let's say we subtract a positive, I want you to understand that 2 plus negative 3 can be thought of the same way as 2 minus 3, which is also negative 1, which gives me the same result. So 2 plus negative 3 equals negative 1, and 2 minus 3 equals negative 1. Think of, we talked about negative 3 in terms of the idea of debt. 2 plus negative 3 equals negative 1. That's 2. Then I owe my friend $3, and I give my 2, and I still owe him 1. And I have $2, and I give away 3, and I end up going in debt $1. It's the same idea, but the reason why we talk about them separately is that negative numbers will allow us to, they're useful for multiplication and division. And so we can also model them with addition and subtraction. Next, if you do 2 minus negative 3, where here we notice subtracting positives took us one direction, subtracting negatives will take us the other direction. So 2 minus negative 3 could take me 1, 2, 3 into the positive direction. So that's 5. So that's the negative direction. So these are opposites. These are opposites. Opposites with each other. These are opposites with each other. Right? These are also opposites with each other, as are these are opposites with each other. Okay? So, moving on, let's talk about multiplication and division. Get mine up there. So, when we did multiplication, let's think about these operations from a language standpoint. When I ask you, what is 3 times 4? I could write it just, I can, if I want, write it just like this. But another way is, we could say this. What if I add 3 4 times? Keep my right, you get 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. And that's going to be 12. 3, 6, 9, 12. Simple enough idea. So, in that case, if we do 3 times negative 4, we could say, what if I add 3 negative 4 times? But how do you add something a negative number of times? Well, if you do this, another way to think about it, this is kind of a novel idea. I haven't talked about this in class yet, but I hope you can follow along. I'm sure you can. You can rewatch this video. I'm going to get a little bit more adventurous in these videos because you can go back and rewatch it several times. What if I subtract 3 4 times? Right? And so I'm going to subtract 3, subtract 3, subtract 3, subtract 3. So negative 3. So the first time we get negative 3, then negative 6, negative 9, negative 12. Right? So what if I subtract 3 4 times? You get negative 12. And so what we see, and if you subtract a positive number any number of times, you're going to end up going into the negatives, especially if you start from 0. We're assuming we're starting from the origin of our number line at 0. So that's going to be starting from 0, 1, negative 3, 2, negative 6, 2, negative 9, 2, negative 12. Right? That's what we're doing. That is what we're doing when we subtract 3 4 times. Now, this goes to show if I instead say, what if I add 3, or what if I add negative 3 4 times? So what that's going to look like is that. And really it's the same idea, because 0 plus negative 3, because we've already shown that adding a negative is the same thing as subtracting a positive. So it just becomes plus negative 3, plus negative 3, plus negative 3, plus negative 3. 0, negative 3, negative 6, negative 9, negative 12. The same operations are happening if the negative is here or if the negative is there. So that goes to show that if I subtract negative 3 4 times. So now my repeated operation is subtraction, and I'm performing it on a negative number. So what I'm doing now is I'm starting from 0, and so I'm going to subtract negative 3, and we subtract negative 3, we end up moving in the positive direction. Because we already talked about that's what happens. When you subtract a negative number, you're going to move in the positive direction. So that's going to move us into positive 3. Minus negative 3, minus negative 3, brings me to 6, minus negative 3, brings me to 9, minus negative 3, brings me to 12. Okay? And so what happens here is we end up getting this following table for our operations. A positive times a positive is a positive. Positive times a negative is a negative. A negative times a positive is a negative, because these are the same operation. And because we showed that this is the same thing as adding 3 4 times, we can say this is a positive. And so this is kind of the pattern, the rule. I'm going to make I wish the multiplication sign didn't look like just a tilted plus sign. Makes it kind of awkward. But that's notation for you. We made it up. So we're stuck with it. So that's that idea. And this is also true for division. I could write a multiplication sign here and a division sign. And the logic is the same. So anyway, this video went a little longer. I might break it up into a two-parter and put them up separately. But anyway, I hope this was helpful. I'm going to be providing some more examples for you to work out on your own with an answer key and some worked out examples. Anyway, I'm going to do that a little later. For now, it is 7 o'clock and I need to get some dinner. Well, you have a good day, and don't stress yourself out too much, okay? This always gets easier if you can learn to relax. All right, have a good day. Bye.